So really there are 5 major life stages that are recognized in psychographic data. And we're going to look at what these are right now. And you'll be able to identify, obviously, where you are at the moment, but also be thinking about where you're headed next. Excuse me. Because sometimes, well, it depends. Also be thinking about how long you're going to stay in your house, too. Because if you're moving every single year, it might not be as important for you to think about your next phase. But some of us are going to be in a home 5 years, 10 years. Some people even intend to live in a space much longer than that. So they're going to have to think ahead if they're going to go from, you know, like pre-family through empty nest in one space. You're going to have a lot of different things to deal with. So let's look at what these 5 life stages are. So that first one is pre-family. Young adults living without children in a space. So some people don't ever have a family, and they're always in this phase until they get into one of the other ones. So you might not necessarily move through all of these, but you can start to identify which one you are in. This is also really important. You know how last time we loved creating those terms and everybody started identifying, Sally, with like, I'm an A or I'm a B or, you know, those kinds of things. That's the great thing about this concept, this little sort of quiz with regard to design professionals. So those design professionals that are watching can start thinking about all of their clients in these different areas of their life stage too, because it's going to help them really identify maybe what a client needs. Sometimes our clients don't know what they need, and we have to tell them what they need, and this can really help you get some great information there. The next one is called the dependent life stage, and this is families with very young children or elderly parents at home. But either way, someone is depending on you to help them exist on a daily basis. So someone that you're caring for that can't necessarily care for themselves in your household. The next one would just be the family stage, which is adults living with at least one child that's 12 years or older in the home. So those 12-year-olds all the way up to what we heard earlier of the 31-year-olds still living at home. But other adults living in the space along with you that you're having to accommodate all of their needs. And honestly, this one can be the one that is most needy, because when you have adult children with all kinds of different interests and hobbies and activities, and there's 4 or 5 maybe people living in the house together that are over the age of 12, that can be a lot of different things going on. Empty nest is that phase of adult with older children who are out of the home or have adult children possibly who have moved back in. And that's not necessarily empty nest, but maybe it's more you were an empty nester and then maybe these adult children moved back into the household. And so you were used to living there by yourself and you had things the way that you wanted them. Maybe you even remodeled the rooms that these older children were living in, and then now they've come back. And how do you accommodate all of those things? And then the last phase, the 5th one, is the mature phase, which is adults beginning to think about their own elderly years and how and where they're going to live at that phase in their life. So you can see as you look at each of these, depending on where you are, sometimes you need to already be thinking of the next phase. So if you're pre-family, but you're married and you're thinking about having children soon and you're going to move into a new house, you might already need to be thinking about how this space would function for children. Or if you're, you know, in the empty nest phase and you're moving towards that more mature phase of your life, and you really need to see if this could be a home where you could live as you age, sort of that aging in place thing, you need to be thinking about that. So sometimes, depending on how long you're going to stay somewhere, you need to think about different phases, different life stages